Hey friends, hey Jonathan. Today I wanted to talk about a movie that's pretty special to me. It's called Because of Winn-Dixie and it came out back in 2005. Because of Winn-Dixie follows the story of a girl named Opal Bologna who recently moved to the small town of Naomi, Florida. Opal doesn't have any friends in this new town and misses her previous home very much. The thing that she misses most, however, is her mother, who left her and her father prior to the start of this story. This abandonment weighs heavily on both Opal and her father, but they still do their best to move on, and their lives are soon changed when a loving dog fatefully enters their lives, not only restoring Opal's and her father's strained relationship, but also the residents of Naomi's relationships with one another. It's a very harmless and touching story with a few messy and vague components, which is why I think Because of Winn-Dixie is a diamond in the rough. And in this video, we're gonna look at what it does well and where it could have done better, starting with section 1, Diamond, aka what it does well. The first thing I love about this movie is how gorgeous it looks. The cinematography and setting of this movie work together to create a cozy, warm look. This movie was shot on film, as we can see from this behind-the-scenes footage. They are using a Panavision film camera, which gives it that raw, grainy look that you've probably also seen in other movies like Moonrise Kingdom and Asteroid City, both of which were also shot on film cameras. This, combined with the sunny and nature-filled setting of Naomi, Florida, which is actually just Louisiana, leads to a visually warm and organic-looking movie. I've never really seen a story with quite a setting like this one. They did a superb job picking a unique and different setting for this narrative to take place in, and that's partially why this film will stay with me for a long time. Love the southern vibes. The second thing I love about this movie is its soundtrack. It's bright and uplifting and a little religious as well. There's a soothing feeling you get when you listen to the likes of Winn-Dixie Comes by Rachel Portman and Sunflower by Alice Peacock and Opal's Blues by the Be Good Tanyas. There's also, of course, the religious song that plays at the end of the movie, Glory Glory Hallelujah by Patrina Wright and Gloria Smith, which I liked as well. And this movie, while not necessarily being a religious film per se, does have a decent amount of religious content and elements in it. And the movie always ensures to approach these elements with love and respect. And while the religious components are definitely there, they are not too prevalent. This story is truly about a dog who helps a lonely girl in town to open up to each other and share their love with others. Which brings me to the final things that I love about this movie, which are the characters and the performances. AnnaSophia Robb is one of my favorite actors and human beings of all time. She's got an incredible heart and soul, and she's religious as well, so this role was pretty much perfect for her. Opal herself is a likable and unproblematic protagonist who always tries to make the most out of her situation and is an inspiring character that a lot of people can look up to. Jeff Daniels is a very pleasant surprise in this movie. I've only ever seen him in the Dumb and Dumber franchise, so to see him play such a mature and charismatic preacher was awesome. He adds a lot of tenderness and lovingness to Preacher that makes the character pretty likable and charismatic. The same can be said for Cicely Tyson, who plays Gloria Dump, Dave Matthews, who plays Otis, Ava Marie Saint, who plays Miss Franny Block, and of course, the best actor in the film, Winn-Dixie. All of the actors in this film did great, and by the end of the film, everyone is super sweet and likable. But let's pause for a minute here. You're probably hearing me say all these things and thinking, so what's not to like about this film? And this is where things get messy, and we're gonna talk about it right now in section 2, Rough. I like this movie a lot. It gives off a very unique vibe and celebrates the simple things in life. But one area that I think Because of Winn-Dixie could work on is its characters. Now you're probably saying, you said you like the characters. And I do like the characters. The movie does a great job at highlighting the tender and caring side of human beings through its characters. Nevertheless, I personally feel that this movie could have benefited from more character development. While the characters are likable, they're also vague. Many of the characters, like Dunlap and Stevie Dewberry, don't get explored enough. We barely know anything about them by the end of the film. We know that they're brothers. We know that at least one of them has a crush on Opal. We can infer that they like to play baseball. Opal tells us that they have a cat named Sadie, and that's about it. Their dialogues don't really reveal anything about themselves. We get no explanation for their crass behaviors. We don't know anything about their past or where they want to go in the future. And a lot of this can be said for the other kid characters as well, like Amanda and Sweetie Pie. We get surface level information and characterizations that are never fully explored. And the biggest missed opportunity for character exploration would probably have to be with Preacher's character. He's one of the most important characters in the movie, and yet we know very little about him by the end of the film. And that's kind of unfortunate because he's a likable character that I would have liked to know more about. Like in this scene, what book is he reading? And again, in this scene, what section of the newspaper is he reading? And in this scene, what's he doing on his computer? How did Preacher become a preacher? What was he doing before he was a preacher? How did Preacher meet his wife? I would have loved to know all of these things, but what we get instead are vague information and character traits. We know that he loves Opal, we know that he misses his wife, and we know that he's a kind man. But these are all somewhat surface level details, and I would have liked to see his character explored in greater depth. And that can be said for pretty much every character in this film. They're all likable and have a solid foundation of characterizations, but I just wished we got a little bit more. All that being said though, I'm a person who loves appreciating things, and I absolutely appreciate this movie for what it is. A harmless, wholesome movie about a group of likable characters in a small town who gradually open up to each other and share their love with one another. With beautiful cinematography, a soundtrack that transports you to another era, and a setting that's super cozy, Because of Winn-Dixie is a diamond in the rough. Thank you for watching, my friends. I hope you have a wonderful day.